Summary of the book, The Let Them Theory, by Mel Robbins. In The Let Them Theory, Mel Robbins introduces a groundbreaking mindset shift with the power to transform your relationships and personal happiness. Starting with a candid story about a high school prom that redefined her approach to control, Robbins shares how two simple words, let them, can liberate you from the stress of managing others' opinions, actions, and expectations. Blending personal anecdotes, practical tools, and psychological insights, this book empowers you to reclaim your energy, focus on yourself, and embrace a life of freedom and balance. Key point 1. The importance of letting go of control. Letting go of control begins with understanding that attempting to manage others' opinions, actions, and behaviors is an endless cycle that only drains energy and creates unnecessary tension. Every individual has their own unique perspective, needs, and decisions, and trying to control or change them not only fosters frustration but also distances you from what truly matters, focusing on your own growth and happiness. Control often stems from fear, the fear of being judged, rejected, or excluded. This instinct drives the desire to micromanage situations and people. However, control is an illusion. No matter how carefully you plan or how much effort you put into influencing others, the outcomes often stray from expectations. Accepting this reality is the first step to reclaiming peace of mind. Letting go means recognizing the limits of influence and shifting focus inward. It's not about giving up or being passive. Instead, it's about releasing the need to steer every detail and allowing others to act according to their own paths. This shift liberates mental space and energy, allowing you to concentrate on what you can change, your reactions, your actions, and your emotional well-being. The benefits of letting go are transformative. It reduces the emotional burden of trying to meet others' expectations and minimizes the impact of external drama. Relationships improve because there is less tension and more space for authenticity. Most importantly, it fosters self-awareness, enabling you to act with intention rather than reaction. The key is to practice this consciously. When faced with situations where control feels necessary, like when someone disappoints you or circumstances don't align with your expectations, pause and say, let them. This simple phrase acts as a mental reset, reminding you that it's not your responsibility to dictate others' choices. In turn, you create freedom not just for them but for yourself. Your energy is a finite resource. Learning to let go ensures that it's spent where it truly matters, on building a fulfilling and balanced life. Key point 2. Applying the let them theory in personal relationships. Personal relationships often become a breeding ground for control, as emotions run high and the stakes feel personal. However, trying to manage others' behaviors, feelings, or decisions is both exhausting and counterproductive. The let them approach provides a liberating framework to navigate relationships with less stress and more authenticity. The foundation of this approach lies in accepting people as they are, not as you wish them to be. When friends, family, or partners act in ways that challenge your expectations or preferences, the instinct may be to intervene, correct, or guide them toward a different choice. But this reaction is rooted in the illusion that their actions directly reflect or affect your value. In reality, their behavior is independent of you. To apply, let them, start by recognizing when control surfaces. It may appear as frustration when a friend cancels plans, disappointment in a partner's choices, or annoyance with a family member's criticism. Instead of reacting, pause and reflect. Why does this bother me? What am I trying to control here? Acknowledge the emotional trigger but resist the urge to act on it. Allowing others the space to live their own lives strengthens relationships. It fosters trust and respect, showing that you value them for who they are, not for how well they conform to your expectations. This doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior or abandoning boundaries. Instead, it's about discerning what truly matters and letting go of minor irritations or unmet expectations. For example, when dealing with family dynamics, it's easy to fall into patterns of over-involvement, advising siblings, mediating conflicts, or trying to keep everyone happy. The let them mindset shifts this responsibility away from you. If a relative criticizes your life choices, let them have their opinion without internalizing it. Their perspective doesn't define you. In romantic relationships, this theory becomes a tool for mutual growth. Instead of attempting to change a partner's habits or beliefs, embrace their individuality. Let them make mistakes, pursue their interests, or express themselves authentically. In doing so, you will create a healthier dynamic where both partners feel supported and understood, not micromanaged. The true power of let them lies in its dual nature. While you free others to act independently, you also free yourself from unnecessary emotional weight. Relationships flourish when they are built on mutual respect and acceptance, not control or manipulation. Each time you practice this approach, you strengthen the connection to yourself and to those around you. Key point 3. The connection between stress and control. Stress often arises when there's a perceived need to control outcomes, environments, or people. This compulsion stems from a natural human desire to feel secure and prepared. However, the constant striving to manage uncontrollable factors leads to chronic tension, anxiety, and even burnout. Understanding this connection is the first step toward breaking free from its cycle. At its core, stress is a reaction to uncertainty or misalignment with expectations. When situations don't unfold as planned, the impulse to regain control takes over. Whether it's ensuring a project's success, managing a loved one's emotions, or resolving conflicts, this need for control shifts focus outward, toward variables that are often unpredictable. The irony of stress-driven control is that it exacerbates the very feelings it seeks to alleviate. Attempting to micromanage others' choices or overplan every detail of an event doesn't create security, it magnifies frustration when inevitable deviations occur. This leaves a person feeling drained, stuck in a loop of chasing perfection and reacting to perceived failures. Breaking this cycle requires a conscious decision to let go. The "let them" approach is a powerful tool in managing stress by redirecting energy toward what truly matters. By acknowledging that not everything is within your power, you release yourself from the pressure to fix, manage, or influence every outcome. For instance, in work environments, team dynamics often trigger stress when colleagues don't meet expectations. Instead of shouldering the burden of others' responsibilities, adopt the mindset of "let them." Let them take ownership of their tasks, learn from their mistakes, or approach challenges in their own way. This not only reduces your personal stress but also encourages a culture of accountability and growth. In personal life, stress manifests in trying to meet societal standards, whether through parenting, maintaining appearances, or keeping everyone happy. Recognizing that you cannot control others' judgments or feelings frees you to act authentically. Let them have their opinions, let them choose their paths. Stress isn't eliminated by perfect planning or relentless effort, it's reduced by accepting what you can't control and focusing on what you can. This shift not only improves mental and emotional well-being but also fosters a calmer, more intentional approach to life. Let go of the illusion of control, and the weight of stress will begin to lift. Key point 4. Managing others' opinions. The fear of judgment often dictates actions, decisions, and self-perception, creating an invisible cage where others' opinions hold power over personal choices. This dynamic is fueled by the belief that external validation determines worth or success. Managing this fear begins with a fundamental shift, understanding that others' opinions are reflections of them, not you. It's natural to seek approval. Humans are social beings wired for connection. However, the compulsion to please everyone comes at the cost of authenticity and peace. When you shape your life around avoiding criticism or gaining acceptance, you lose sight of your own desires and values. This imbalance leaves you vulnerable to stress, insecurity, and self-doubt. The "let them" mindset offers a path to freedom. When faced with criticism or unsolicited advice, pause and remind yourself, let them think what they want. Their perspective is shaped by their own experiences, biases, and expectations. It does not define your value or the validity of your choices. This approach is not about dismissing feedback entirely but about discerning its relevance. Constructive feedback, rooted in care and understanding, can help growth. But baseless judgments or opinions formed without context have no bearing on your worth. Let them exist without internalizing them. In practice, managing others' opinions means resisting the urge to explain or justify yourself. For example, when family members question your career choice or lifestyle, let them hold their opinions. Recognize that their concerns often stem from their fears or limited understanding, not an accurate assessment of your life. Social media amplifies the pressure of others' opinions, where likes, comments, and shares become a barometer of worth. Applying the "let them" principle here is essential. Let them react as they will. You cannot control how others interpret your posts or projects, nor should you. Your self-expression is for you, not their approval. The true liberation lies in separating identity from external perception. When you no longer seek to control how others view you, you gain clarity and confidence. This shift enables you to act authentically, live according to your values, and prioritize what truly matters, your own growth and happiness. Others' opinions may swirl around you, but they no longer have the power to tether you. Key point 5. Learning from comparison. Comparison is a universal human tendency, often arising from a desire to measure progress or validate choices. While it can inspire growth, unchecked comparison leads to feelings of inadequacy, resentment, and self-doubt. The key is transforming comparison from a source of pain into a tool for self-reflection and empowerment. Comparison often stems from a scarcity mindset, the belief that others' success diminishes your own potential. Seeing a peer achieve a milestone or live a life you aspire to can spark envy or self-criticism. These emotions, if left unchecked, shift focus outward, leading to fixation on others' lives instead of progress in your own. To break free, it's essential to recognize that everyone operates on a unique timeline with distinct challenges and opportunities. Someone else's achievements don't negate your potential or worth. By saying, "Let them," you allow others to celebrate their wins without letting their journey detract from yours. Let them succeed. Let them shine. Instead of avoiding comparison, redirect its energy towards self-awareness. What does their success highlight about your desires or goals? For example, if you envy a friend's career achievements, it may signal that you're ready for growth in your own professional life. Use this realization to create actionable steps toward your aspirations. Social media intensifies comparison, presenting curated snapshots of people's lives that can feel unattainable. Here, practicing "let them" becomes critical. Let them share their highlights without assuming it reflects their entire reality. This perspective protects your mental health while fostering gratitude for your own journey. Learning from comparison also involves embracing humility. Acknowledge when others' successes result from hard work, talent, or unique circumstances. Let their achievements serve as a reminder that success is possible and that growth requires effort. Celebrate their wins while committing to your own path. Finally, focus on what you can control: your growth, choices, and mindset. Letting go of the need to keep up creates space for clarity and intention. The journey becomes less about surpassing others and more about fulfilling your potential. Comparison, when approached with self-awareness and grace, becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. It highlights areas for growth, clarifies values, and strengthens resilience. By practicing "let them," you free yourself from the weight of envy and step confidently into a life defined by your own terms. Key point 6. Strategies for managing others' emotional reactions. Managing others' emotional reactions begins with acknowledging that their feelings are not your responsibility. It's natural to want to soothe or fix situations when someone is upset, angry, or frustrated, but these impulses often come from a misplaced sense of control. Emotional reactions belong to the individual experiencing them, and attempting to manage or change them usually leads to further tension. The first step in managing others' reactions is practicing emotional detachment. This doesn't mean ignoring or dismissing someone's feelings. Rather, it involves understanding that their emotions stem from their perspective, experiences, and triggers. Saying "let them" allows you to respect their right to feel while protecting your emotional boundaries. For example, when faced with a colleague's outburst over a missed deadline, it's easy to internalize their frustration or feel the urge to defend yourself. Instead, let them express their frustration without taking it personally. Their emotions are not a reflection of your worth but of their expectations and stress. Maintain a calm, neutral demeanor and focus on solutions rather than escalating the conflict. When dealing with loved ones, the dynamic can feel more personal and challenging. For instance, when a family member reacts strongly to your choices, such as a career decision or lifestyle change, the instinct might be to explain, justify, or appease. Resist this urge. Let them have their reaction. Allow them to process their emotions on their own timeline without trying to fix it for them. Empathy is a crucial tool in these situations. Acknowledge the person's feelings with phrases like, "I see this is upsetting for you," or "I understand why you feel that way." Validating their emotions doesn't mean agreeing with their perspective but shows that you care without taking on the burden of changing how they feel. Another strategy is setting clear emotional boundaries. If someone's reaction becomes overwhelming or crosses into disrespect, calmly express your limits. For example, "I understand you're upset, but I need us to have this conversation respectfully." Boundaries protect your well-being while maintaining the integrity of the relationship. Finally, recognize that you cannot control the outcome of someone's emotions. They may remain upset or disagree with your perspective, and that's okay. The goal is not to force harmony but to navigate emotional interactions with grace and clarity. By embracing "let them," you free yourself from the weight of others' emotions and create space for healthier, more balanced relationships. Key point 7. How to deal with difficult people. Dealing with difficult people requires a shift in perspective, recognizing that their behavior is a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, or unmet needs, not a statement about you. While their actions can be frustrating or hurtful, attempting to change or manage them often leads to more stress and conflict. Instead, the "let them" approach provides a framework for navigating these interactions with clarity and self-assurance. The first step is detachment. Difficult individuals often provoke strong emotional reactions, whether it's anger, defensiveness, or frustration. When these feelings arise, pause and remind yourself, let them be as they are without internalizing their negativity. This detachment prevents their behavior from consuming your energy and emotions. Boundaries are essential. Difficult people often push limits, whether through manipulation, criticism, or emotional volatility. Establishing clear boundaries protects your well-being and ensures that their behavior doesn't interfere with your goals or peace of mind. Communicate these boundaries firmly but calmly. For instance, if someone consistently interrupts or dismisses your input in a meeting, address it directly. I'd like to finish my thought before we move on. Another strategy is depersonalization. Difficult behavior is rarely about you, even when it feels personal. For example, a micromanaging boss may be acting out of their own anxiety about control, not a lack of trust in your abilities. Viewing their actions through this lens reduces the sting of their behavior and allows you to respond more thoughtfully. Choose your battles wisely. Not every interaction requires a response. When dealing with someone prone to drama or confrontation, ask yourself, does engaging serve a purpose? Often, the best course of action is to disengage, letting their behavior pass without feeding into it. Empathy can also transform difficult interactions. While it's not your responsibility to fix someone else's issues, understanding their perspective can diffuse tension. For instance, a coworker who snaps during a project deadline may be overwhelmed rather than intentionally rude. Offering a simple acknowledgement, like, "I can see you're under a lot of pressure," can shift the dynamic. Ultimately, the key to handling difficult people is focusing on what you can control: your reactions, boundaries, and emotional energy. By practicing, let them, you free yourself from the burden of managing their behavior and reclaim your power to navigate the relationship on your terms. This approach fosters resilience, allowing you to maintain your peace and integrity regardless of their actions. Key point 8. Transforming the fear of failure into action. Fear of failure is a powerful force that often paralyzes progress and fuels self-doubt. This fear arises from the belief that mistakes define worth, limit potential, or lead to rejection. However, shifting the narrative around failure, from something to avoid to something to embrace, unlocks the ability to take meaningful action and grow from every experience. The first step in overcoming the fear of failure is recognizing that failure is not an endpoint, it's a learning process. Each misstep provides valuable insights about what works and what doesn't. Reframing failure as feedback removes its emotional sting and allows you to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. Action becomes the antidote to fear. Often, fear of failure stems from overthinking, replaying potential negative outcomes in your mind until they feel inevitable. Interrupt this cycle by focusing on small, manageable steps forward. The momentum created by taking action, even imperfectly, diminishes the power of fear and builds confidence. Let them applies here in two profound ways. First, let others judge or criticize your efforts. Their opinions are external and do not diminish the value of your courage to try. Second, let yourself fail. Embrace the possibility of mistakes as a natural part of growth. This mental shift liberates you from perfectionism and allows for authentic progress. Another critical element is self-compassion. When failure occurs, it's easy to spiral into self-criticism, reinforcing the fear of trying again. Instead, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Acknowledge the effort you put in and the lessons you gained, rather than fixating on the outcome. Set realistic expectations for success. Unrealistic goals magnify the fear of failure because they feel unattainable from the start. Breaking larger ambitions into smaller milestones not only makes progress more achievable but also ensures that each step forward builds confidence and reduces intimidation. Finally, shift the focus from outcome to effort. Success is not defined solely by achieving a perfect result but by the courage to take action despite uncertainty. Celebrate the bravery inherent in trying, regardless of the result, and use each attempt as a stepping stone toward growth. Transforming the fear of failure into action is a practice of perspective and resilience. By embracing the lessons failure offers and allowing yourself the grace to learn, you unlock the ability to move forward with confidence and purpose. This shift not only diminishes fear but also positions failure as a powerful catalyst for growth and achievement. Key point 9. Building authentic and sustainable friendships. Building authentic friendships requires intentional effort, vulnerability, and a commitment to mutual growth. Relationships that stand the test of time are not born from convenience or surface-level connections but from shared values, trust, and genuine care. To cultivate these kinds of friendships, it's essential to prioritize quality over quantity and focus on creating meaningful bonds. The foundation of authentic friendship lies in accepting others as they are. Instead of trying to mold friends into your expectations, embrace their unique qualities and imperfections. let them be themselves, even if their choices or lifestyles differ from your own. This acceptance fosters an environment of trust and authenticity, where both parties feel free to express themselves fully. Vulnerability plays a critical role in deepening connections. True friendships are built on the willingness to share your struggles, fears, and aspirations without fear of judgment. By opening up, you invite others to do the same, creating a space for mutual understanding and support. However, this requires discernment, sharing your innermost thoughts with those who have proven themselves trustworthy. Consistency is another cornerstone of sustainable friendships. Regular check-ins, thoughtful gestures, and shared experiences strengthen bonds over time. Life's demands can make maintaining friendships challenging, but even small efforts, like sending a quick message or scheduling a coffee date, go a long way in showing that you value the relationship. Boundaries are equally important. While friendships thrive on support, they should not come at the expense of your well-being. Setting limits on your time, energy, and emotional availability ensures that the relationship remains balanced and healthy. For instance, if a friend frequently unloads their problems without reciprocating support, it's essential to address the imbalance respectfully. Letting go of expectations is key to sustaining long-term friendships. People grow and change over time, and so do relationships. Some friendships may naturally fade, while others evolve in unexpected ways. Embracing this fluidity allows you to cherish the connections that remain meaningful without clinging to those that no longer serve you. Finally, gratitude strengthens friendships. Expressing appreciation for a friend's presence, kindness, or support reinforces the bond and reminds both parties of the value they bring to each other's lives. Simple acknowledgements, whether spoken or written, cultivate a sense of closeness and respect. Authentic and sustainable friendships require a balance of effort, understanding, and flexibility. By fostering connections based on trust, acceptance, and shared growth, you create relationships that enrich your life and provide lasting support through every season of change. Key point 10. How to inspire others without trying to control them. Inspiring others is about influence, not control. Attempts to micromanage or dictate someone else's path often backfire, creating resistance and tension. True inspiration comes from embodying the values, actions, and mindset you wish to encourage in others, allowing them to feel empowered to make their own choices. The first step is to lead by example. People are more likely to be inspired by your actions than by your words. Instead of trying to convince someone to adopt a new habit or change their perspective, demonstrate the positive impact of that behavior in your own life. When others see tangible results, they may naturally feel motivated to follow suit. Respect autonomy by letting others make their own decisions. Even when you have their best interests at heart, trying to steer someone toward a specific outcome often feels intrusive. Instead, provide guidance or suggestions when invited, and trust their ability to choose what's right for them. The "let them" mindset reminds you to honor their independence while offering support from a distance. Listening deeply is another powerful way to inspire. By giving others the space to express their thoughts, fears, and aspirations without judgment, you create an environment where they feel valued and understood. This openness fosters trust and makes them more receptive to new ideas or perspectives. Encourage self-discovery instead of offering direct solutions. Ask thoughtful questions that help others reflect on their goals and challenges. For example, rather than saying, "You should try this," ask, "What do you think would happen if you gave this a try?" This approach respects their agency while guiding them toward actionable insights. Timing also matters. Forcing advice or pushing someone to change when they're not ready only leads to frustration. Be patient and wait for teachable moments, times when they're open to input or actively seeking guidance. This ensures that your efforts are welcomed and impactful. Celebrate their progress, no matter how small. Recognizing achievements builds confidence and reinforces positive behaviors. For instance, if someone takes a step toward a healthier lifestyle, acknowledge their effort with genuine encouragement rather than critiquing how far they still have to go. Finally, embrace the possibility that your influence may not take hold immediately, or at all. Not everyone will be inspired by your actions or advice, and that's okay. Let them follow their journey at their own pace, and focus on maintaining a supportive, non-judgmental presence. Inspiring others without control is an act of humility and trust. It prioritizes their freedom to grow and learn in their own way while offering guidance through example, empathy, and encouragement. This approach strengthens relationships and fosters genuine, lasting change. Conclusion. The Let Them theory delivers a transformative perspective on navigating life's complexities by focusing on what you can control, yourself. Through the simple yet profound philosophy of "let them," it encourages releasing the burden of managing others' actions, opinions, and emotions. This mindset not only fosters personal freedom but also nurtures healthier, more authentic relationships. By pairing "let them" with "let me," the book empowers readers to take responsibility for their reactions and choices, creating a balance between acceptance and personal accountability. The central takeaway is clear. You cannot control others, but you can control how you respond to them. This shift liberates emotional energy, reduces stress, and builds resilience. By letting others live their lives while embracing your own agency, you reclaim time and focus for what truly matters: your happiness, growth, and purpose. Whether applied to relationships, career challenges, or personal growth, the principles shared in this book are universally applicable and profoundly empowering. The journey of letting go is not about surrender but about gaining clarity and confidence to lead a life on your own terms. With each "let them" moment, you will find yourself closer to the freedom and fulfillment that comes from living authentically and intentionally.